Salt water glints over a hard red shell as a lobster rises in its tank, antennae quivering, body lifted just a little higher than the others. That tiny lift is everything, because in a world where posture declares intent, the smallest rise can be the first step out of chaos. If the ground beneath you felt shaky this week, what would you choose to lift first? Your shoulders? Your eyes? Your standards? You know that life keeps moving whether you brace yourself or not. Tonight, let's trade the soft lie of comfort for the sturdy courage of meaning. Stay with me, and by the end, when we return to that small lift, you'll know exactly what to raise in your own life and why it matters now. There's a reason this book captured so many readers. It isn't a collection of slogans. It's a set of lived principles hammered out in the fire of experience, psychology, myth, and ordinary days where you have to decide how to carry yourself. The author is a clinical psychologist who has sat with people in their darkest hours and traced the patterns that either pulled them back into the light or dragged them deeper into the dark. He talks about order and chaos like two ancient landscapes. Step too far into order, and life turns brittle. Step too far into chaos, and you dissolve. So the promise here isn't a quick fix. It's the possibility that you can place your next stone on the path with intention, even if the fog is dense. What you gain by listening isn't just knowledge. You gain a way to walk. You gain practices that reduce the noise, strengthen your spine, clean your corner of the world, and help you tell the kind of truth that stitches your life together rather than tearing you or others apart. If you've felt scattered, ashamed, resentful, or aimless, this conversation is a hand on your shoulder, not to push you, but to steady you while you choose your next step. Let's begin with something deceptively simple: how you carry yourself when you enter a room. You have felt the difference between a hunched neck scanning for escape and the lifted chest scanning for possibility. Your nervous system reads your posture like a headline. So start small and physical. When you walk through a doorway, let it be a cue. Lift your chest. Let your shoulders roll back and down. Breathe once, slow. You aren't faking confidence. You are telling your body you can face what's coming. Resistance will whisper that it's pretentious. It isn't. It's preparation. This tiny practice builds a feedback loop. You feel more capable, so you act a little braver, so the world pushes back a little less, which gives you evidence that you can keep going. The barrier here is embarrassment. You imagine people will judge you for standing tall. Truth? People are mostly trapped inside their own worries. Stand anyway. Ask yourself tonight, where will I place one posture anchor? A front door? A meeting room? The mirror before a hard call? Pick one and rehearse the lift until it's yours. Now consider a quieter commandment. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Many of us are strangely kinder to the neighbor's dog than to our own bodies. You skip medication because you think you're fine. You deprive your future self to please a present impulse. If a friend called you and said, "I didn't sleep, I ate junk, and I ignored my doctor," you drop what you're doing and help them make a plan. So make one for you. Not punishment, care. Write a short daily contract with your future self. I will sleep at a time that respects tomorrow. I will feed myself as if I want to be alive next year. I will move my body for 20 honest minutes. The barrier is self-contempt disguised as independence. You tell yourself you don't need help, but you do need stewardship. Begin with one concrete act of care by morning and one by evening. If you miss, start again the same day. Don't spiral into shame. You wouldn't scream at someone you're responsible for. You'd redirect gently and firmly. Do the same for you. Look next at your circle. Are the people closest to you pulling you toward your better days or tugging you back into the swamp? It's not about cutting everyone off the second they struggle. Loyalty matters. But there's a difference between a friend who wants your good and a companion who wants your comfort because your comfort protects their stagnation. You know the friend who texts you when you're hiding from your goals. You also know the one who laughs when you try. Imagine sitting across from both at a cafe. With one, your chest expands. With the other, it caves in. The barrier here is fear of abandonment, and guilt about outgrowing people. You can love someone and still stop anchoring your life to their inertia. Practice a small boundary. When someone mocks your effort, say, "I understand you're joking, but this matters to me. I'm doing it." Watch what happens. The people who want your best will adjust. The others might fall away. Your future will thank you for both outcomes. Comparison is another trap. Not all comparison, but the kind that uses someone else's highlight reel as a hammer. You scroll and feel smaller with every swipe. The book's counsel is a pivot so simple it almost sounds like a trick. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Yesterday has real data. What did you do? What did you avoid? What tiny bit of honest work did you finish? Today, you can aim a little higher. Maybe it's one more page read with attention, one more hard conversation started, one cleaner surface, one more lie you refuse to tell. The barrier here is impatience. You want leaps, not steps. But a long, steady aim beats a frantic sprint that burns you out. Try this tonight. Before bed, write 3 lines. I did this well, I avoided this. Tomorrow's aim is this small, specific action. Then keep the paper. Let the stack prove your progress. If you're a parent, a leader, or simply someone with influence, hear this. Don't let the people you're responsible for become the kind of people you secretly dislike. That sentence stings because it puts responsibility where it belongs. Affection without structure raises resentment. Clear boundaries raise gratitude. Imagine the child who never hears no. They grow into an adult who thinks gravity is optional until reality breaks them. The barrier here is the fear of being disliked. But you aren't raising your approval rating. You're raising a future human who can hear the word stop, who can take turns, who can fail without collapsing. Start with one rule that matters, delivered calmly and enforced consistently. Breaks of the rule get predictable, measured consequences. Keep your voice low. Make the rule small enough that you can hold it every time. If you fail today, admit it and start again tomorrow. You're training a conscience, not a courtroom.
Before you point at the world's failures, set your own house in order as best you can. Not spotless perfection, honest order. If your desk is a storm, your kitchen a battlefield, your inbox a guilt machine, then global outrage becomes a drug that numbs you to your own neglected responsibilities. None of us will clean everything, but all of us can begin with the square meter of reality. Pick a surface, clear it, decide what lives there. Throw out the lies you store in the form of broken things. When you want to yell at the world, ask, did I make my bed? Did I answer the difficult message I owe? Did I take care of the tasks I'm pretending are beneath me? The barrier here is justification. You tell yourself that personal order is trivial compared to the world's crises. But the person who can't govern their desk rarely governs anything larger with wisdom. Start with one corner, then another. Let order grow outward like a calm tide. Meaning over expedience is one of the book's fiercest ideas. Expedience is the quick sugar hit. Cheat now, pay later. Meaning is the slow, steady burn. Serve now, grow later. You already know the difference. Expedience is the lie told to avoid the uncomfortable truth. Meaning is the hard truth told today to avoid a heavier price tomorrow. Expedience is the extra hour of mindless escape when a single hour of focused work would free you. Meaning is the call you're afraid to make, the apology you owe, the promise you keep without applause. The barrier is fatigue and the story that your effort is meaningless. To choose meaning, aim at something worth the pain. If your aim is too small, the pain wins. Ask yourself, what is the smallest, meaningful aim I can hold this month? Tie it to service, not vanity. Maybe it's to stabilize your finances so your family breathes easier. Maybe it's to mentor one person who reminds you of a younger you. Write the aim. Break it into weekly promises. Keep those promises when no one is watching. Your future self is watching. So are the people who quietly depend on you. Truth-telling sounds heroic until you realize how many tiny lies glue together your days. I'm fine. I'll start tomorrow. I don't care. It's not my fault. Lies keep the peace briefly by declaring a false world. But your nervous system knows. It tracks every time your mouth says yes while your soul screams no. Start with low-stakes truth repetitions. When someone asks what you want for lunch, answer honestly. When a coworker proposes a timeline that will break you, say, I can't deliver that by Friday, but I can by Wednesday next week. When you miss the mark, own it without the extra theater of self-loathing. The barrier here is fear that truth will blow up relationships. Sometimes it will. But more often, truth will recalibrate a relationship worth keeping and reveal the ones that rest only on your silence. If you can't tell the truth, at least stop telling lies. When in doubt, say less, not more, and make the words you do say aligned with reality. Listening as if the other person knows something you don't is a discipline. You think you're listening, but you're rehearsing your next point. You defend, you explain, you wait for a gap to insert your speech. Try this instead. When someone finishes, repeat back what you heard in their words until they say, yes, that's right. Then ask, is there more I'm missing? Resist the urge to fix. Let the speaker empty the bucket. Only then offer your view, clearly and calmly. The barrier is pride and the terror of being wrong. But notice the relief when someone truly hears you. Give that relief first. The miracle of this kind of listening is how often the heat goes out of the conflict when each person feels understood. And sometimes you'll discover an angle you didn't see that saves you from a bad decision. Precision in speech isn't about sounding smart. It's about aiming at reality so you can hit it. Vague complaints leash you to vague suffering. Everything is awful, cannot be fixed. I feel overwhelmed because our deadlines keep shifting after I plan my week, can be discussed. Sit down with the pen and name the problem where it lives. What is the smallest unit of the difficulty? Who is involved? When does it happen? Where does it show up in your body? What would better look like in one sentence? The barrier is the comfort of fog. If nothing is clear, nothing is required of you. But the cost of fog is helplessness. Try a nightly precision practice. Write one sentence that names an issue without drama or blame. Then write one next action. The sentence aims the arrow. The action lets it fly. Do not smother the spirit of risk in those who need to test themselves. The image here is a kid on a skateboard, gathering speed, eyes bright, knees ready. It looks dangerous. It is. That's the point. People grow by brushing against the edge of their ability. When you overprotect, you signal that the world is too deadly and the child is too fragile. Courage rots. If you're a manager, the skateboard might be a challenging project. If you're a friend, it might be a heartbreak they must face without your constant rescue. The barrier here is your anxiety. You step in because their risk triggers your fear. Breathe. Spot them from a distance. Let them fall in small ways that teach big lessons. When real danger is present, act. When risk is simply the tuition of growth, get out of the way. Finally, a quiet consolation. When suffering crowds your horizon and nothing seems to fit, look for the cat on the sidewalk. The spirit here isn't about cats specifically. It's about the smallest, concrete mercy available right now. The way a shaft of light lands on the table. The laugh you didn't expect. The warmth of a cup in your hands. These moments don't erase pain. They make space inside it. When illness strikes, loss hits, or the world becomes too heavy, it is both humble and brave to accept tiny gifts.
The barrier is cynicism. You think noticing beauty is naive. It isn't. It's a way of refusing to let suffering become your entire identity. Decide now that even on terrible days, you will look for a small good and let it touch you without apology. Let's connect these principles to the shape of a day you can actually live. Imagine tomorrow morning. You wake and resist the urge to scroll. You place your feet on the floor and sit for 1 minute. In that minute, you decide your smallest, meaningful aim. You say it out loud. Then you make your bed. The act is simple, but it sets a tone. You bring order where you stand. Breakfast is ordinary food that respects your future. Before you open email, you spend 45 minutes on the task that moves your aim forward. When you enter your first meeting, you lift your chest and breathe once. You listen first until you can summarize the other view fairly. When you speak, you name your request without fog. At lunch, you answer questions honestly, even the dumb ones like, "Do you want fries?" You pick an afternoon interval to clean a square foot of your world, a drawer, a file, a line of code. If a friend messages with drama, you refuse to fuel it. You offer help or a boundary, not a mutual spiral. On the way home, you choose to call the person who tells you the truth. If you have kids, you enforce the one rule you chose without yelling. After dinner, you read 10 minutes of something that makes you a little braver. When the sadness creeps in, you look for the cat, or the moon, or the way your child's hair falls over their eyes. You write 3 lines before bed. I did this well. I avoided this. Tomorrow, I aim here. It isn't glamorous. It is faithful. And a faithful day is a powerful life repeated.
Let's go deeper into the friction points, because this is where people usually stop. You try to stand tall, and an old memory surfaces. Someone told you to shrink, and you learned that shrinking felt safer. You decide to care for yourself, and a voice calls you selfish. You select better friends, and someone accuses you of betrayal. You speak precisely, and people who benefited from your vagueness push back. You let a child risk, and another adult glares. You notice a small joy, and your grief calls you a traitor. Expect these reactions. They aren't proof you're wrong. They're proof you're changing. Write a list titled, "The Costs I Accept." Include temporary awkwardness, misunderstood boundaries, fewer but truer friends, harder conversations, slower wins, deeper peace. Tape it where you can see it. When the costs arrive, remember you chose them because the benefits are larger than the discomforts. Sometimes you'll ask, what if my house is a mess because I am in a mess? Then start smaller. If you can't clean a room, clean a corner. If a corner is too much, clean a drawer. If a drawer is too much, clean your pocket. If your mind is too loud to write 3 lines, write 3 words. If 3 words are too much, write 1. Help. Send that word to someone safe. Order often begins as a single point of light. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just the next step. There is no shame in small beginnings. Shame belongs to stagnation, not to first steps. And what about truth when the truth is explosive? Practice tone before content. You can say almost anything kindly if you are willing to own your feelings and needs. Replace "you always" with "when this happens, I feel and I need." Replace "you never" with "I want to ask for this specifically." If you can't tell the whole truth yet, tell a true part. I'm not ready to talk in detail, but I need more time before I decide. That sentence is truer than a fake yes. Truth should not be used as a weapon. It should be used as a scalpel. Aim to heal, not to win. You may ask, how do I choose meaning when I am exhausted? Start by subtracting fake obligations. Look at your calendar. Circle appointments you keep only to avoid disappointing someone who does not hold your future. Cancel one this week. Use that hour to move your meaningful aim one step forward. Rest is not the opposite of meaning. Rest is what meaning uses to grow roots. Sleep is not laziness. Entertainment is not sin. But if entertainment rules your evenings, ask what you are avoiding. Replace 1 hour of numbing with 30 minutes of creation and 30 of quiet. Watch how your brain thanks you with more strength to choose well tomorrow. Envy will try to choke you. You'll see someone succeed and feel your throat tighten. This is the moment to apply a secret rule. Bless what you want. Not performatively, but sincerely. Say, may they flourish. Then immediately take one action to move your own life an inch toward what you desire. Envy freezes. Blessing moves. You are not competing for a single seat at a table the size of a planet. There is room for many good things at once. Your progress is not limited by someone else's success, but it is limited by your decision to treat their success as a verdict on your worth. It isn't. What about guilt over boundaries? Some of us were trained to confuse kindness with compliance, but kindness without self-respect curdles into resentment. Resentment will leak out of you no matter how well you smile. Better to disappoint someone today with a clear no than to betray them and yourself later with a fake yes. Practice the sentence. That doesn't work for me, but here's what would. Let the other person have their feelings. You have yours. 2 adults, 2 realities, 1 boundary. A word to those carrying grief. These rules are not a bargain with fate. They are not a guarantee that if you stand up straight, the storm will avoid your house. Storms come. Losses happen. In those seasons, aim lower with honor. Your heroism might be getting out of bed, showing up to the appointment, making a sandwich. Let your standards flex for the season, but keep the structure. And keep looking for the cat. That one small kindness you accept in a dark week does not betray your love for what you lost. It honors your continued life. Now a personal style reflection. There was a year when I didn't want to look in the mirror. My posture told the truth, my mouth refused. I was tired, brittle, angry at everything, especially myself. I tried to fix the world from a desk I wouldn't clean. One night, I sat with a sheet of paper and wrote 3 lines. I did this well. I kept a promise to a friend. I avoided this. I dodged a hard call. Tomorrow's aim, I will make that call before noon. I taped the paper by my bed. The next morning, I stood taller at the doorway because the paper reminded me of who I was trying to be. I made the call. It didn't go smoothly, but it cleaned a channel in me. That afternoon, I threw away a box of things I'd been moving from shelf to shelf. That evening, I told the truth once in a situation where I would have previously lied to keep the peace. No applause. Just a quieter room inside my chest. Over months, those small lifts changed my life
more than any dramatic resolution ever did. If you're listening and thinking, I can't do everything, good. You're not meant to. You're meant to do the next faithful thing. You will not become perfect. You will become honest, solid, reliable to yourself. You will become the kind of person whose life could carry weight. Here's my challenge to you. Choose one principle and implement it in the next 24 hours, not all 12. 1. Stand tall at every doorway you cross today. Or write those 3 lines before bed. Or make a square meter of your world clean and keep it that way for a week. Or call the friend who wants your best and tell them your aim. Or tell one gentle truth where you usually hide. Or listen until the other person says yes, that's what I mean. Or write a single precise sentence naming what hurts and what you need. Or let a kid take a small risk while you breathe through your fear. Or watch for the cat. And when it appears, let yourself feel the grace of it. These are not random lifestyle tweaks. They are practices that stitch your days to meaning. As we close, remember, this path is not about becoming someone unnatural. It is about remembering the shape of a person who tells the truth, shoulders some weight, orders what they can, aims at what matters, and receives tiny joys without apology. The world is loud. Confusion sells. But inside the noise, there's a steady pattern that people have followed for a long time. When you align with it, your life begins to gather strength. You will still fail. You will still be afraid. But you will be afraid while standing, not crouching. You will fail forward into learning, not backward into excuses. And the people around you will feel it. They may not know what changed. They will just sense that with you, the ground is a little more solid.
So let's return to the image we began with. A creature rises a fraction in its tank. Not a leap, a lift. In your life, that might be the lift of your shoulders when you speak, the lift of your eyes to meet another's without flinching, the lift of your standards when you set a boundary, the lift of your hands as you clear one corner, the lift of your voice when you tell one simple truth. Let that be your symbol tonight. Not a perfection you cannot hold, but a small rise you can repeat until it becomes your way. Here's your invitation. Comment with one sentence, naming the smallest lift you will take today, not tomorrow. Share this with one person who needs a steady hand more than a new slogan. And if you want to go deeper with us, open the playlist on building truthful, meaningful lives. It's there to keep you company while you practice. Join us. We are building people who stand, who speak precisely, who choose meaning, who notice the cat. The world needs more of those. You are ready to become one.